Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Got a question here from Hap Simpson, and Hap says, "Hi Serge, although I've been playing golf for many years, I'm a young 91 now." How good is that? 91 years old and still playing golf. What other sport can you really do that in, huh? That's how great golf is. Although, he says, I have thoroughly enjoyed and learned much from your excellent instructions and daily blogs. I do have a problem with my golf swing, which I hope you can solve. When I look at the face of my irons, I note that the worn spot is centered about 1 inch toward the toe of the club from the center. Does this mean that I am taking the club head back outside? I make an effort to take it straight back, but should I take it back inside? When I do, I often hook the ball. Your advice will be appreciated. Okay, Hap, let's start with the golf club. Hit it out on the toe. The odds are that you're playing what we call a cavity back golf club. Cavity back means it's all been hollowed out in the back, and they put the weight all the way around the outside toe, and they usually have extremely big flanges on the bottom. All right? Whereas compared to this club, this is a blade, or as we call it, a muscle back. All the weight is still there. On average, muscle back clubs are much smaller from toe to heel, whereas cavity backs will be about as far out from the heel over here to almost a ½ inch more than this club, and they'll be taller on the face too, from the top to the bottom. Okay? Now, the big issue with blades versus cavity backs is where is the sweet spot? On a blade, the sweet spot usually with the longer irons will be in the dead center of the club, and as you go to your shorter irons, say your 7, 8, 9 pitching wedge, they start to move a little bit inward towards the hosel. Whereas when you get to your cavity backs, the blade, the sweet spot is way out more towards the toe, and wherever the sweet spot is on the shorter clubs, it starts to move even farther out towards the toe for the longer irons, like from the 7 iron. Once you go to 6.54 iron, and if you did find one with a set with a 4 or 3 iron, they go even farther out near the toe. Why is that? Because the cavity backs are built as smaller clubs. That's where they always historically were built. The general perception in golf is that cavity backs are for higher handicappers, blades, muscle backs are for lower handicappers. If you've been on this blog long enough, you know I believe everybody ought to play blades. All right? Because the difference between a blade, a muscle back versus a cavity back is what I call the difference between playing with a pie plate, hitting the ball with a pie plate, versus a fist. Or if I said I say to golfers a lot, if I want to bet with you and I was going to punch you in the nose, and I said I'm going to give you 2 options. You can have me punch you with my fist or my palm. Which one are you going to choose? And to this date, everybody's always chosen the palm. And I say, why? Well, because it's not going to hurt as much. I say, correct. And why is it going to hurt more with the fist? Because they always say, because there's more mass and it's concentrated in a smaller area. I say, well, if it's going to hurt your nose more with me punching you with a fist, wouldn't you rather hit a golf ball with a fist? But then they come back and say, yeah, but I need a bigger head. You don't need a bigger head. You swing the shaft, not the head. If the head is balanced properly, doesn't matter what size head you got on it. You can put a hammerhead down there, and you'd hit the ball relatively well and consistent if you swing the shaft properly. And that's what this is all about. You're swinging the shaft when you swing a golf club. And why are you swinging the shaft? Because you're holding the grip, which is on the shaft. All right, the head is out there, and the head rotates. But the point is simply that, and it rotates because your arms rotate. But whatever you do with your hands, and as I always say, the right hand mirrors the face, that's where the face is going to be. So I think you'll always play better golf with a blade and a smaller head. So number one, that's your problem, Hap, is that you're very likely playing with a cavity back club, which the sweet spot's out near the toe. All right? And so if it's out there, that means you're hitting the ball relatively solid and hitting better shots because you're hitting the sweet spot. And that's because golfers tend to swing outside in, which means the club is coming across the ball, and so that's where they put the sweet spot. All right? I know one time DJ was hitting some balls with one of the first sets he had for the company one time, and it was a modified cavity back to make it look like a blade. It didn't have an offset. It was an inline shaft like you get with blades. And he took out his 8 iron one day in a range and started hitting it, and all the marks were out on the toe. And he said, Dad, look at this, man. I just hit it pure, dead solid, perfect, and the marks are out on the toe. And he said, what's going on? I said, well, hey, if you want to find out what's going on, go hit your 3 iron now. He took his 3 iron out, and it was even farther to the toe. He said, what's going on, man? I'm hitting it solid. I said, that's where the sweet spot is. And one time I was testing some clubs for one of the companies I represented years and years ago, back in the early '80s, and I actually took this set out, and it was their first version of a cavity back golf club, and it wasn't that big a head. It was still just a teeny bit bigger than an average blade, which is why, you know, it looked decent to me at that moment. And I'm out there playing. I was actually playing a tournament, hit it out on the toe. And I keep looking, hitting great shots, dead solid, perfect, nice, good shots that I was trying to hit, and they're out on the toe. And it's like being in their testing clubs for them and everything else. I knew who to call, and I called one of the engineers, and I got right to him after the round. And I know it was early '80s because that was pre-cell phones. I remember I had to go into the shop and get changed to use the pay phone. And I called him up and I said, "Hey Doc, why am I hitting all these balls way out there in the toe? In a dead solid right on the toe?" He said, "Don, that's where the sweet spot is. All right, so if you're hitting them solid and your marks are out near the toe, you very likely have a cavity back, and that's where the sweet spot. So technically you're swinging that club well. But I guarantee you swing a blade the same way and your sweet spot will be back in the middle or even a little inside middle." Okay? Now to get to the question about should you take, you feel like you're taking the club straight back half, or should you take it inside? Straight back, never inside. That's going to open up a whole Pandora's box of problems. If you swing it, if you take it inside, you're very likely going to be turning too far. And all of this is assuming good alignment. You're going to be turning more, so you're going to be getting inside the sacred burial ground. The club's likely going to lay off a little bit. If you swing it straight back from there, you'll be hitting bullets out to the right. So once your brain says, I don't want the right bullets, then what does it do? You're either going to stay on the inside and flip the club over more, and then you'll be hitting low pulls and pull hooks, or you just very likely will start your shoulders first, get ahead of the club, and then come over on top of the ball. And if you release square to your body and your shoulders have now open to the left, where are you going to be hitting it? You're going to be hitting pulls and pull hooks. All right? So the key is you have to go straight back in the catcher's mitt and up the tree. Okay, Hap? Two great questions. Congratulations on playing golf at 91 years old and still playing well enough to really care about your golf game, and you want to get it better, which is an inspiration to all of us. So keep on playing. Be that role model for all of us who play golf, because you're the perfect example that golf is the greatest game, because you can play it forever as long as you can walk and lift your arms up to swing it vertical. So congratulations, Hap, on 91. Hope this answered your questions. And for all of us out there, let's all be like Hap and keep playing golf as long as we can play. And with the surge swing, the vertical, limited turn, body-friendly swing, that can happen to all of us, because if you don't beat your body up, your body's going to be good to you, and you'll be able to keep playing golf as long as you want to play. All right, well, that's it for the Surge for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.